Just as they were finishing, we hear this guy come in, say, "Nobody move."
Hi! This is a bomb! If I let go of this switch, this whole place goes up!
One hand he's got a gun, in the other hand he's got a bomb.
Get out! Get out!
You see these kind of things happen on TV, and I knew what could happen.
Everybody turn around! Turn your chairs around!
The explosive was powerful enough that it would very seriously injure or kill everyone in that room. My focus was to help out on the inside as the secret weapon. My name is Lloyd Prescott. March 5th, 1994, I was the training lieutenant for the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office. I teach police officers to perform well on duty. We go over tactics, we go over laws, and the myriad of other police topics that we train them in. Salt Lake City is actually a mid-sized city. It's a wonderful place to live. It's a wonderful place to raise your family.
I am Michael Greer. I was born in a suburb of Salt Lake, lived there most of my life, next to the Wasatch Mountains. I met my wife, Judith, in Salt Lake. She is very beautiful. Judith is very interested in spiritual things.
Found it.
Can you believe this?
In March 1994, we heard of this Tibetan ceremony going on at the Salt Lake County Library. They have colored sand and make these very, very elaborate mandala. Judith and I went there to watch the completion of that.
I've been a librarian for 40 years. I've worked the entire time at the Salt Lake City Public Library. In 1994, I was a children's librarian. I loved working with the kids particularly, but I also liked training the parents to help them prepare their kids for school.
If you don't hurry, you're gonna miss it.
All right, I'll go have a look. Just let me finish this up first.
Saturday on March 5th was a ceremony to dismantle the mandala. It was painstaking work. You could watch them for 5 minutes and they maybe filled in a square inch. My coworker said, if you want to see any of it, you need to go over now.
Just looking to improve my public speaking a bit and to the best of my ability.
I walked in front of the fiction desk and there was this guy standing there.
Take it. I'm gonna mail that to the newspapers. And have a nice life, huh? Mine's gonna be short.
Judith sitting next to me, just as they were finishing, hear this guy jump on the table.
Everybody listen up! This is a bomb!
And we all look, of course. He said, "Nobody move."
If I let go of this switch, this whole place goes up! Hey! Hey, nobody move! Where you going? What did I say? Nobody move! Get out! Get out!
I think that probably initially I thought he wanted to take a picture, but not if he's got a gun.
One hand, he's got a large caliber automatic. Right there is his powerful weapon. It was the real thing. The hammer was back.
He had a backpack on, and in his other hand, he had a curling iron. He said he had a bomb as well, that it was in his backpack, and the curling iron was his dead man switch. So if something happened to him, that it would go off and blow up the library.
He said, "This is my bomb. If I let go of this handle, the bomb goes off." And we're wondering, what is going on here?
I swear to God, I will let go of this switch, and I will kill myself and every last one of you. Hey! Turn around! Get back here. Come on!
He told everyone to stand still and not move, or he would blow up the library.
They owe me, and you're all gonna help me get it. I swear to God, I will let go of this switch and I will kill every last one of you.
You could feel that he was really, really unstable. Everyone could feel it.
Don't you look at me. Don't. I said, don't look at me. Yeah, hey. What's she doing here, huh? I thought I told you to go mail that. Get moving. Go on.
I turned toward the children's department, which has glass windows, raised my hand in the shape of a gun, and then put my hand up in the shape of a phone to my ear, indicating that they needed to call the cops. You see these kind of things happen on TV and in the news, and I knew what could happen.
The Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office was located across the courtyard to the east of the Salt Lake City Library. Being that it was a Saturday, the administrative offices were closed. I was the only one in the office.
Is anybody here? Hello? Hello?
I had gone back to do some work on the computer when a gentleman who had been in the Salt Lake City Library come into the Sheriff's Office administrative building and started to yell for help, ask if anyone was there.
Can I help you, son?
There's a man with a bomb in the library.
Anyone call Salt Lake PD?
I think so. I don't know.
Wait here.
My first response was to call Salt Lake City Police Department and marshal the nearest law enforcement. And it was at that time he informed me the Salt Lake City Police had already been called through the 911 system. And it was at that time I told him I would go across and see what I could do to help. There were literally hundreds of people running out of the library. The only thing I was really aware of is that there was a man reportedly with a gun and a bomb that were taking hostages on the second floor of the library. Everything else was an unknown.
Nobody move!
Once I entered the library, a couple of people stopped long enough to tell me to get out of the library, that the escalator going up was shut off, so it was like a stairway. and people were still coming down off of the second floor. I was walking up the escalator. I literally had my hand on my gun. As I was approaching, I was afraid I was going to walk into a man with a gun and a bomb.
Hey! Get up and move it! Go on!
He starts pointing to people to get into this conference room, which is off to the south of us. And he says, okay, I'm taking hostages. I looked at him, and he looked at me, and we made eye contact.
Hey, you! You get back in that room right now. Go, go!
No, you can't go. You can't go.
It's okay.
Judith sitting next to me put her hand on my wrist, like, don't go. But I had to. I stood up and looked at her, and oh, the look on her face I cannot describe, except love and fear for me. Fear that I was going to get killed. And I'm sure I had the same expression on my face. And off I went into the conference room.
Hey! What did I say? Get in that room! And you too, you go. They owe me, and you're all gonna help me get it. I swear to God, I will let go of the switch, and I will kill myself and every last one of you.
He was scanning the crowd looking for a librarian, and I think because I was short, didn't look threatening, that was the reason that he picked me.
I want you to go over there, and I want you to count hostages, and I want 16. You hear me? 16.
He told me to go into the conference room and to start counting people.
I said move it! Get in that room right there!
Lord, keep us safe. Give me the strength to get us through this.
I said a prayer. A voice came to me that I was supposed to be there. I was needed there.
Presentation should be between 25 and 30 minutes.
Right now. Go, go! And you two, you do the same thing. Move it, move it.
Wait, what's happening?
There's a man with a gun. He wants hostages.
What does he want?
I don't know. He wants me to count out 16 hostages. I don't know.
I walked into the room. There was a meeting going on. Most who were in the room were able to sneak out the other door.
Hey, stop! Don't move. You close that door! Get back in here. Get everybody against the wall right now. Move it! How many?
It was 16.
This is not 16!
It's enough. You have enough. Please.
Once he was losing people, he was upset.
We need a phone.
There's one at the reference desk.
All right, you get it. And you tell anybody else that's out there to get in here. And if you ain't back in 15 seconds, somebody's gonna die. Go. Don't look at me. Turn around. Turn around. You give me a reason, I'll let go of this switch. I swear to God. All right, you put it on the table right there. You keep back.
Hey, don't go in there, man. There's a guy in there with a bomb and hostages.
I'm a police officer. Is everyone okay in there?
I don't know. He gave me this. He told me to mail it.
Go.
One man approached me and told me to get out of there now. I told him, it's okay, I'm with the sheriff's office. He pointed to a small room about 20 feet away, which was a conference room. He told me the man with the gun and bomb had just taken hostages in there, and he also held out a letter. and he said he gave me this to mail. The letter that I was handed was actually a hostage demand letter. I didn't have time to look at the demand letter because I knew that door would close in a matter of seconds. And after that, everyone is sealed off, and there's nothing I could have done to help. Because there was no possibility of safely taking a shot, I entered the room.
What do you want me to do with this?
I said I wanted that mailed.
I waved the letter at him. I said, "What do you want me to do with this?" And he said, "I want it mailed." There was one lady that was behind me that was going to go in the conference room, and I shut the door in her face. I didn't want her in the room if she didn't have to be.
Could you please stop pointing that at me?
Sit down. Who are you?
My name's Lloyd
I
Prescott.
said, who are you?
I'm an accountant.
I was wearing a simple pair of dress slacks, a golf shirt, and a leisure jacket. And so I was not in uniform. I was not identifiable as a police officer. Since I was in plain clothes, I was able to conceal my weapon with my jacket. I obviously didn't want him to know I was involved in law enforcement. He looked at me and he said, "What is your name?" And I said, "My name is Lloyd Prescott." And he said, "Mr. Prescott, what do you do for a living?" And I said, "I'm an accountant." My focus is not on taking action because that's not the safe thing to do for the hostages. My focus was to help out on the inside as the secret weapon, if you will.
Well, Mr. Prescott, if any police come in here, a lot of people are gonna get shot. But you're gonna be the first. You understand?
What do you want me to do with this?
We're in the conference room there, wondering what's going to happen. Before the doors were closed, this man comes up to the door with an envelope and says, "What do I do with this?"
I couldn't figure out why somebody else is going to come in and join us. I had no idea at that time that one of our hostages, particularly him, was a cop. I don't think that anybody else in the room realized it at that point either.
All right, everybody sit down. Come on, sit down. Move it.
You too, Mr. Prescott. Come on.
At that particular time, the hostage taker was at the head of the table, and counting myself, there were 10 other people. He said, "You're going to be the first one I shoot, and then I will shoot a person on the right or the left of you, depending on which hand I'm holding the gun in."
All right. Everybody turn around. Turn your chairs around. Turn your chairs around right now.
First he had us line up, face the wall, and not look around. Then he sits at the head of the table and has us sit down all around him.
There was plate glass set up to be as a wall. The conference room itself was approximately 20 feet by 40 feet.
You gotta empty the bag. Get up.
Now you're gonna take the bomb out of the bag. Front pocket. Nice and slow. Nice and easy. Come on. Come on. Put it down, put it down, put it down, put it down. There you go. There you go. All right, now you sit down.
He had a gun in one hand, a curling iron in the other hand that he was using as a dead man switch, and a bomb on the table. What a dead man switch in this case was just two pieces of wire, and he stripped the ends of the wire off, and then he took duct tape and rubber bands and tried to hold it in place. The explosive was powerful enough that if the bomb had gone off, it would very seriously injure or kill everyone in that room.
He asked what time that we had gotten into the room was at about 10 to 10, because he wanted to set his timer for 72 hours.
He had all he had to have to stay in a sustained hostage situation for 72 hours. He had cord, knives, extra batteries, duct tape.
He did not look like a man who was going to give this up. He was prepared to stay there for days.
All right. You two at the front there. Turn around. Don't look at me. Now, you're going to get those tables. You're going to barricade the doors. So get up, move, get the tables. Come on.
Hey, you. You're gonna close the drapes. Get up.
Hey, you, library lady. You take that, you tie up that door. We're going to barricade ourselves in here. And the rest of you, do not look at me. You keep your eyes down and do not move.
He ordered me to tie a door shut because they opened going out, and he didn't want them to be able to do that. He told me to tie it with a square knot, so I tied it with a square knot and pulled on it just so that he could see that it looked good.
My name's Clifford Draper.
Up until that point in time, we didn't know who he was.
Let's get some attention. You. I want you to pick up that phone, and I want you to call the police. You tell them what we're doing. I said tell them.
Within the first half an hour, Draper had us call 911. I actually made the call.
Yes, my name is Gwen Page. I work at the Salt Lake City Public Library. I've been taken hostage with 9 other people. He has a gun and a bomb. Yes. They want to connect you with the negotiator.
No, you hang up right now. Hang up. You see that? You see that right there? Right there. They're trying to mess with me. You take that phone. You give it to him. Go on, you take it and give it to him.
Then Draper made me give the phone to Michael.
You're the phone man now.
He made me be the telephone man to do his calling for him because he didn't want to let go of his bomb or his gun.
All right, you're gonna dial this number right here. You're gonna tell them that you're a hostage at the library and that they are gonna put me on the air. I said, you're doing the talking.
He'd tell me what to say, some of his demands, but yelling at me while I was talking, which is pretty distracting.
He instructed Michael Greer to call the radio station. He wanted to get his demand letter out, and he actually wanted to go out on the air.
Z93.
Yes, hello. I'm a hostage at the Salt Lake City Public Library. The hostage taker, he wants to go on the air to give his demand.
I don't have time for this.
No, wait.
The person that answered that phone, from what I could hear, was not convinced that it was a real-life hostage situation. In soccer, the Cosmos League's been on their way to the league
In 1994, I was the program director of Z93, which was a monster classic rock station in Salt Lake City. On March 5th, I had agreed to go to breakfast with my girlfriend under the one condition that I would leave my cell phone home because I was always getting calls and it drove everybody around me crazy. I thought, I've got to take it with me. What if there's an emergency? Well, there just happened to be one. Thank God I did.
Hello. What?
I'm having a nice little breakfast with my friend and my cell phone rings. It is the part-timer named Allison on the radio. She said, I don't know if I just did something wrong or not.
Z93.
Yes, hello. I'm a hostage at the Salt Lake City Public Library. The hostage taker, he wants to go on the air to give his demand.
I don't have time for this.
She said, this guy called and said he wanted to go on the air. He had a bomb and hostages. And she said, I told him to F off and hung up. It was normal to get crank calls at the radio station. In fact, what I would tell the disc jockeys, I would say, you know, if you feel that this is a crank call, just tell them to go to hell, hang up. Just don't let it interfere with your show. And that's what this DJ was doing. And I remember my stomach doing a flip and thinking, for some reason, I just felt that it was real.
And again, we haven't yet been able to confirm all of the details of this developing story, but it appears that a man with a gun and potentially some sort of explosive device has taken several people hostage at the Salt Lake City Public Library. We'll be coming to you live with more details on the story as it develops.
I found out it was real. There was a hostage situation at the library.
I want everybody to write down their names and their next of kin.
After everyone is seated and he seemed to feel like he had control over the group, he handed out a piece of paper and he asked everyone to put their name and a contact person on there.
I wrote down Judith's name, thinking, I want to be with you. I want to be with you.
I could look on people's faces and I could see their concern that they were putting down someone to contact in case they were killed. And that, of course, is a very solemn, scary thing for people. When I put my name on the paper, I put Lloyd Prescott and then I put divorced on there. Salt Lake City's not that big. I knew a lot of people already knew my name. I wanted law enforcement, whichever agency was involved, to know that I was in there and that they had an ally. What I needed to do now is to become an insurance policy, to sit in the room, wait for the negotiator to make contact, give the SWAT team time to set up and make their plans and prepare in case they needed to come in to save lives.
My name is Ken Hansen. In 1994, I was the Salt Lake City Police Department SWAT sergeant. On March 5th, 1994, I got a call from our dispatch center to respond to the Salt Lake City Library.
Hostage taker is on the second floor in a conference room. Any bison there? Any demands yet?
He hasn't been too talkative to us yet.
What about the explosive?
Well, it's definitely not big enough to level the library, but...
Enough to take out the room.
The information I got was the suspect has a bomb. First intelligence I got was that it could be like a Claymore device. Claymore bomb is kind of a curved rectangular device that has explosives on the back. And those explosives, when ignited, it has like ball bearings in front of it. And so it blows those ball bearings out, and that's how it creates damage and casualties. We've got to be ready for something that happens right now, but we also have to plan for days. You have the needs of the hostages, medical needs, food needs, so on and so forth. So I'm trying to plan both getting things ready to do a hostage rescue in case things go bad, but also for the long term.
All right. Hope everybody's comfortable. The government doesn't like to move very fast, so we all might be here a while. Hey, put your hand down. What?
I'm a diabetic. I need insulin 5 times a day.
So take it.
I didn't bring any.
You need insulin 5 times a day, and you just didn't bring any with you. What are you? Stupid?
There was a woman in the group who had diabetes, and she had only planned on being there for a couple of hours.
The diabetic lady is Sue Allison. She did not have any insulin with her. And so when she told him that, he got mad at her. He took his hand that was holding the gun and he moved it towards her head. And I remember thinking, he's going to shoot her. If you have a no-win situation, which is what I felt, I couldn't let him shoot her. When I was actually afraid he was going to do that. I couldn't, if I would have taken him out and he lets go of the dead man switch. Now the other quandary is that bomb goes off and everybody above the table is seriously injured or killed. So I am facing some cold, harsh reality. How do you deal with this?
Lloyd suggested that he let Sue Allison go. He absolutely was not going to let anyone out.
Her voice was shaky at this point, and it was getting worse and worse by the minute.
And he used the back of his hand and touched the side of her face.
You feel all right to me? I would not try and screw with me. Okay? I'm smarter than all y'all!
He told her, I've got an uncle who is a diabetic, and I know about this, so don't try and fool me. Your training is to minimize damage. It's just something I couldn't minimize damage and let him kill her. All I could say was I was not going to let him shoot her. And I was fortunate, and so was she.
Clifford Draper, as I found out later, he was a paranoid schizophrenic. off his meds for a long time. He was living in a little boarding house just up the street from the library and hung out on the street a lot. He told us at one point that he had worked at the Salvation Army thrift store as a bell ringer. While he's ringing the bell, he put a sack over his head and tore out little eye holes to glare at people. So they fired him. I don't know if he ever had any other work in Salt Lake or not. He was born in Arkansas. I don't know why he was in Salt Lake. I don't think he knew anybody there.
I don't want any surprises. Everybody's gonna strip down now.
No, please don't.
I am not doing that.
Draper told us that we were to strip down to our underwear, and we just looked at him and we're going,
Everybody takes off the jackets. And you collect them and you put them in that corner over there.
He tasked Gwen Page with going around and picking up all of the jackets. When he asked me to take my jacket off, it was concealing my firearm. That was the only thing that was concealing my firearm. She was kind enough to not question me, and she walked on.
I'm cold. Can I keep mine on?
I said all jackets off!
Okay. Okay.
And I pulled my shirt tails out and put my shirt tails over my weapon.
He started telling us, hey, the deal is, I've given my demands to the newspaper, and we're going to sit here until the police and the authorities meet my demands.
Read that. Those are my demands, all right? They're going to the newspaper. You all read that. You'll understand why I have to do this. Go and read it.
You could see that there was mental illness going on in his writings.
Sure, I'm judgmental on this, but describing Draper, I would just say he's a crazy person.
He was upset that he had been thrown out of the military, and he wanted payment for the time that he thought that he would have served. He wanted the payments in part of it in cash, part of it in gold, and part of it in platinum.
To the first police officer on the scene, my name is Clifford Lynn Draper, hostage taker. I've taken hostages.
I am
I'm
armed with a
with
bomb.
an M19
Any attempt at negotiation will result in the death of hostages. The commander of the National Guard is to reinstate me immediately. I will be paid an amount equal to 20 years of active duty service. You will pay me in gold and platinum. I will be given a full presidential pardon. I protest
and defy the ultra-liberal coalition of coalitions and
I protest totalitarian drug laws and enrich hierarchy.
I protest continued attempts to take away guns away citizens.
I am sick of not getting my shares.
He could hear sounds. The police were hiding.
Library lady, you go over there and you take a look and tell me what you see.
There's some police out there by the escalator.
Get them on the phone! You tell them to get the cops away from there or we all die. If they shoot me, I let go and we all die. If they don't back off, I let go, we all die. If they don't give me what I want, I will let go and we will all die.
I could see him in various areas of the floor. When I told Draper, he was upset.
Well, inside the library, we have officers who are in uniform, who are trying to contain the situation and trying to keep an eye on it and trying to gain intelligence. In this particular situation, there were a lot of complicating factors. One of those is you have a bomb that has a switch on it that if the person holding that switch lets it go, it can ignite the bomb. If you go in and try and take out the hostage taker and he lets go of that switch, then you can, everybody can be armed by the explosive device. Draper made demands early on. We were trying to get communication with him so we could talk to him. The goal, of course, was to get him out safely. I started hearing, I think an hour or two into it, that he had called a radio station.
Oh, God, Trisha. Listen, this is not your fault. I want you to get the police on the line, okay? It's gonna be okay.
I get to the radio station. I said, I'm taking over. And I said, get the police on the phone. All I was thinking was, please God, don't let him detonate that bomb. I said, tell the police that this hostage taker had already called the station once, and he may call back. Well, he did call back.
Do not hang up on me. My name is Clifford Draper, and you will put me on the air.
I can hear his voice. It's just like he's right here, saying to me, screaming, basically, put me on the air now, or everybody dies.
Do not hang up on me. My name is Clifford Draper, and you will put me on the air, or everybody dies.
This wasn't a guy pretending to have a bomb or pretending to have a gun. He had the real thing. He's screaming at me, he's gonna kill everybody. He wanted to go on the air now. And I had asked my friend, while he was saying this, to ask the cops what I should do. She had the police on the phone. She held up a sign that said, no way. In other words, no way, put him on the air. And I'm thinking, I'm gonna put this guy on the air. I don't care what the police say. I could care less. If he's gonna kill people, he's going on the air. He can do whatever he wants. And I thought, I'm gonna try one thing first.
I am so sorry, Clifford.
I said, Clifford, I am so sorry, but the button to put you on the air is broken, and our engineer won't be back until Monday. And he believed it, which to this day, it just shocks me.
You have 72 hours. Or they all die.
He calls back, but it's not Clifford Draper.
You call her back, and you tell her who to contact when we're gone. Call him back.
Z93.
This is Michael Greer. I'm one of the hostages at the library.
Hi, Michael. Are you okay?
You tell her.
Yes. I'm supposed to give you our names. And the names of our next of kin.
Michael Greer's job was to give me the names of the relatives of the hostages. So when Clifford killed them, I could notify the families. And to say that Michael Greer sounded frightened is an understatement.
Earl Weller, wife Wendy, Sue Allison, daughter Stacy, Gwen Page, sister Carla, Lloyd Prescott, divorced. Mike Greer.
It's okay, Michael. It's okay.
Mike Greer, wife Judith.
The feeling of having a gun pointed at you like that is just terrifying. I'm thinking, he's going to pull that trigger and I'm going to be dead. And what's that going to be like? What's the end going to be? And here's that end right there, inches away from my face. I was worried about Judith. I knew she was outside, and I'm thinking, oh, I do not want to leave Judith. I don't want to die and not be with her. And thinking about other family that I'm not going to see anymore.
Is Clifford there? Can you put him on the phone for me?
Okay. She wants to talk to you.
You hold that up to my ear. What?
I said, hey, Clifford, it's Trisha. What can I play for you? Trying to sound just like a normal day, listener calling to make a request. And he actually got kind of happy. He said, okay, yeah. One thing I do know is no matter who you are, if your favorite song comes on or your favorite group comes on the radio, it automatically makes you feel better, even if it's just for a few moments. And he calmed down, and he sounded like a normal listener with calling up and making a request.
More deep cuts. Not the same stuff you play all the time. And less commercials. Nobody wants to hear that crap.
You got it. We'll play whatever you want, okay?
Okay. Okay, yeah.
You see that? That's power. This is power.
She changed the music, and she actually cut all the advertising and everything out of all the radio stations just to play the music that Clifford Draper liked. Mood music, as he referred to it.
He liked listening to Jethro Tull and Aerosmith, and so that was requests that he made.
We were listening to some music, and time went on.
At that point, I was facing the south wall, which was just a white blank wall. And so I just kind of zoned out to the point I could listen. I tried to relax as much as I could to keep my energy up.
Sue Allison started getting sick. Looked like she was shaking and getting lightheaded.
She was starting to sweat and her skin was turning clammy, which of course is a sign of diabetes. We all knew she would go into a diabetic shock or diabetic coma. And so that was a great concern.
She is crashing.
Why don't you just let her go?
Nobody's going anywhere.
She's gonna die in here.
Maybe she will. Maybe you will. Maybe we all will. Or maybe I trade her out for one of them cops out there, huh? I always wanted to kill one of them.
He said, nobody's going anywhere. She can lay there and die for all I care. I've got my own problems. And I'm watching her literally go in and out of consciousness and so forth. And things are looking grim.
I had already decided that, you know, if somebody died, it was my fault. Talking about it now, I can feel it all bubbling up again, just getting nervous and, oh my God. And it, you know, 22 years later, and I can still feel it. I can smell it. Everything about that day is just vivid.
Finally, thank God.
Phil Kirk, I'm with the hostage negotiation team.
He has called several times. This guy is really crazy, and I do not know what I'm doing here.
Well, it's working. He won't even talk to us.
I just told him I'd play whatever he wanted.
That's great. Did he say anything about calling back? Any time frame?
No.
Okay. Why don't you bring me up to speed on what he said so far?
In 1994, I was a hostage negotiator as part of my duties as a sergeant with Salt Lake City Police Department. Because we had gotten word that Z93, that the hostage taker had actually called that station, we, as a team, felt that it might be best for me as a hostage negotiator to go to that location and try to assist the DJs in kind of coaching them through how to talk with the suspect.
When Phil Kirk arrived, he reminded me of something coming from a movie set. He was calm. He knew what he was doing. He was confident. A very handsome man. I mean, really, just straight out of Central Casting. You wanted someone to come in, calm you down, and make you feel safe, you call Phil Kirk. He's your guy. That's how he made me feel.
He gave me this list of all the hostages that are in there and their next of kin.
I remember Kirk looking at it, and he nodded his head, and he said, yep, one of ours, he's in there. And I said, one of yours? What do you mean? And he said, one of our officers is in there. And I said, who? And he said, Lloyd Prescott.
I've had experience as a hostage negotiator on a number of other incidents. This was different because we knew from the very beginning that we had a police officer inside the hostage scene, and I knew Lloyd very well. And I'll tell you, I thought if there was any cop that we wanted in there, it'd be Lloyd Prescott.
Once the glass is down, we enter immediately and take down Draper. One more thing. This man is Lieutenant Lloyd Prescott. He's one of ours. Intel says he's inside with the hostages. He's plainclothes, so the suspect may not be aware that Lieutenant Prescott is law enforcement. All right. Let's run through it one more time.
We got the blueprints for the library, and we took those blueprints over to the parking lot next door. We took duct tape, and we taped out that exact floor plan in the parking lot, so that as we practiced our hostage rescue in that, we could try and time our speed to see just exactly how fast we could get into that room. SWAT officers are going in there. They already know they're going into a room where they could be pushed out by the bomb going off.
Hey, get the cops back on the phone. Come on. Come on.
Draper told me to call the police in charge outside. And at that point, he had me put the phone up to his ear so he could talk.
Hey, yeah, this is Draper. Hey, you have my letter. Now, you know my demands. Where's my doctor? Huh? I want a military doctor stripped down to his shorts and bring him in here. And he should have sedatives and methamphetamines and some insulin. You know all this stuff. I want to be flown to New Zealand. And I'm taking all of them with me as collateral. You have to give me what I'm owed. I served my country.
One of the challenges with this particular situation or this event was that Draper had decided he was not going to negotiate, that he was just going to make demands, and that were made through a radio station and not directly with our hostage negotiators, which in a sense caused a stalemate.
The negotiation process was very frustrating. He was just so agitated and so out of touch with, I guess, reality, that he was a very difficult individual to negotiate with. You need to really give and take. And just complying with every demand without receiving anything in return for it is not really what you're striving for in negotiations. And so we weren't making a lot of progress with that.
Having the radio in there was a distraction. At least we had something to listen to. But I think more than anything that it was a calming influence on Draper.
I always worried I was going to play the wrong song. You never know with the lyrics what might kick somebody off. U2 does a version of Helter Skelter by the Beatles, and I accidentally started to play that. Charles Manson, he used that song to get his followers to commit murders in 1969. And I stopped it immediately because I thought that's the last song you want to play for Clifford Draper with a gun and a bomb. I remember when I stopped that and it was dead air, and I sat there for a few seconds to gather my wits, because I thought, oh, please God, don't let that upset him.
Hey, library lady, you go over there, you tell me what they're doing.
He asked me to go and look and see outside. SWAT team was out, and I could see them in various areas of the floor. I could see them reflected in the metal sides of the escalator. So I kind of knew where some of them were hiding.
I don't see anything.
Luke.
I knew how upset Draper was the first time that I told him that there were cops there, so I told him that there weren't any cops.
I was sitting there facing the blinds, and oh, gee, I wish I could just jump through them. I wish I could get out of here, staring at these dumb blinds.
I had lots of time in the room to envision plans, to make plans, to factor things through my mind to see if it would work. And one of the things that I thought was, if I can get close to this guy, maybe I can disarm him. And of course, after looking at that, now you realize I'm in fantasy land and I can't control the gun and the bomb, and that plan's just not gonna work.
Hello?
We'd settled in, things were quiet. I was just playing music, no commercials, trying to pick the right songs, and I can't remember the time frame because it just seemed like it went on forever. Clifford called again.
I noticed you're not playing any of your regular
Hi, Clifford. No, today's special. It's all for you. Whatever you want, we will play it for you.
People are gonna probably start getting suspicious. You should go back to your regular programming.
Sure. Are you sure you want that?
Yeah.
Okay. He sounded really calm.
He said something that really surprised me. He said, "Hey, thank you. You've played some really great music. I love it, but you better go back to regular programming. People are going to think that something's going on." And that just stunned me. And I said, "I'd be glad to, absolutely." And that was the last time I spoke to him.
We had detectives, investigators working on finding out the background of Draper.
Draper was living in an apartment complex just a couple blocks away from where this occurred. When we did a search warrant, there was some ammunition and some bomb-making supplies, stuff that he had used to prepare the bomb.
We were more and more confirming our suspicions that he really had some mental illness problems in the past that he was playing out in this hostage scene.
He was approximately 35 years of age. When he was 17 years of age, his father put him in the Navy, and something happened to him in the Navy, and he came out a different man. He had run-ins with the police. That impacted him, and he developed a hatred for law enforcement. He would stare at a light bulb in his room for hours and hours, and he believed that gave him mental capacities that were really strong, and he could do things. And he told one of the caseworkers at one time that he was angry, and he was out watching the traffic, and he saw a car, and he focused on that car and made it drive into a utility pole and hurt or kill people. He suffered from paranoid schizophrenia. I believed it all evolved until one day he was taking hostages in the Salt Lake City library.
What's wrong with her?
I think she's going into shock.
Maybe I ought to just shut her up and put her out of her misery.
Can't she lie down at least?
Sue Allison started going into insulin shock.
She's in shock. If she doesn't get her meds, she's gonna pass out and could die.
Hey, you two boys. Why don't you grab this table and you're gonna put it over there? You're gonna put it on the table.
From there, things just started going downhill.
me, Mr. Prescott! Don't!
Every time his hand would get tired, he would switch the gun over and trade hands with the dead man switch. I believed what I saw were the wires were moving. And about the time I saw that, so did Clifford Draper.
You're gonna help me fix the bomb, all right?
And he said, okay, you've got to fix this bomb. We got duct tape out of his bag. And he says, okay, tear me a piece exactly 3/8 of an inch. I'm doing fractions in a hostage situation. How big is 3/8 of an inch? You know.
Come on.
I was nervous this whole time. So I tore off a piece and handed it to him. He took it and put it onto the curling iron. Give me another.
Give it here.
It's a great weight when you realize if you do the wrong thing or you say the wrong thing, you could be the one responsible for getting a lot of innocent men and women killed. I was truly hoping in my mind that this would be a happy ending where everybody would walk out of that room. And now I'm starting to realize this may not happen. Things may get bad in here.
I had come to the conclusion that there was a high possibility that I wouldn't come out of this alive. To come to the realization that you might not survive, it depends on how you've lived your life, whether you've got regrets or not. And for me, I was okay.
Turn around. I said turn around! Nobody look at me. Where is that doctor? Where is he?
I had taken a very brief but sincere bomb class, and so that helped me in my problem solving later on, is I knew that if people could get below the table, that they would be safe from the bomb. Black powder is the lowest level of explosive, and what it will do if it ignites is it's not strong enough to pulverize a table and go down. It will follow the plane of the table and go up. Anybody above the table is not going to have a good day.
I had no idea how it was going to resolve. At this time, I knew there was an officer in the room, but I didn't know he had a gun. I didn't know he knew what he was doing. I tried very hard not to let my mind go to the ending where everybody dies. There was no way out, as far as I could tell.
Outside of that conference room on that floor We have regular patrol police officers who are now starting to be replaced with SWAT officers. When we set up the kind of exact blueprints using tape in the covered parking area next door, we did it because we would need a couple of different components. So the first component that would approach this room would be the breaching team. And what they would do is they would shoot a breaching round out of a shotgun into the top of the windows because it's going to be faster to get through a window than it is a locked door. And so our goal is to get in there as quickly as we can. In case something goes on, we can stop it quickly. We're ready to go if we need to go. But we're hoping for a successful negotiation so that everybody walks out of there. You just sit and wait for more intelligence and for a successful negotiation.
Yeah, that's right. The police just need to see how serious I am. You come over here. You're gonna get this rope. You're gonna cut it into straws. Shortest straw is not going home tonight.
Draper said, okay, they're not meeting my demands. Library lady, Gwen, come over here and get a rope out of the pack here. And that knife, we're gonna draw straws. Now, straws being made of rope here, of course. Whoever gets the short one gets executed.
I went down very, very slowly because I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to cut rope, to cut straws so somebody would die.
One of us, maybe me, is going to be dead in a minute. And I was absolutely convinced that he was going to do it.
Somewhere during the course of this, you start to take stock of everything that's happened. It's a heavy burden to think about dying. And so I've got my two boys, and I'm thinking, who's going to make sure they get raised? Maybe I won't be there. I'm watching Sue Allison lay on the table. I can't let her die. I'm not going to let him kill somebody, execute someone because they draw the short piece of a cord. And so I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the totality of this. I took time from my little pity party, if you will, and then I got back to being a cop. And I thought, okay, this is what I've got to do. What I know will happen is that bomb goes off and everybody's below the table, then they're going to be safe.
Where's the knife?
Change to fight! Everyone down!
I've only got a matter of a couple of seconds to take out the threat. And so that's what I did.
Everyone down! We hear this loud voice, "Get down." And we did.
The last shot, his leg flipped up. At the same time, he dropped the dead man switch. It didn't detonate, and of course, to my ever-living joy, I'm very happy about that. And it was the duct tape that he put on there, the additional duct tape that stopped the wires from touching.
You move, you're dead.
Lloyd is leaning over with his gun aimed at him, and I remember him saying, "Don't move, or you're dead." And Draper saying, "I'm dead already."
As soon as our entry team heard that first shot, they came up, hit the top of the windows to make entry through the windows.
I realized I was the only guy holding a gun in my hand. And so, without pointing the gun at them, I kind of looked over my shoulder and said, "I'm the good guy."
Let me see your hands, let me see your hands. Okay. Come towards me, keep your hands up where I can see them. Right out this door.
We walked down the escalators and out the door. All these people over on the street there started cheering and clapping for us. I'm thinking, I'm gonna live, I'm gonna survive this. I get to see Judith again. I get to see my family again. I'm not dying today, I get to be with her. I felt joy.
Quite a day, huh?
We knew that we needed to get some sugar into Sue Allison. After that, they escorted us out of the building.
Thinking, oh my God, it's okay, I'm alive, here's Judith. This is the finest thing in the world, right here, right now.
Draper, after being shot by Lieutenant Prescott, unfortunately, he didn't survive his injuries. He died on the way to the hospital. I wish that our negotiations had worked better and we could actually talked him down and releasing everybody, including himself, without getting hurt or killed. But that didn't work out that way, and that wasn't something, we can't control Mr. Draper, and only he can be responsible for his actions, and he wasn't willing to work with us.
As we search for answers why he did this, it really comes back to mental health issues that he thought, kind of as a last stand, that this is a way that he could be heard and that he could resolve perhaps the issues that he'd been facing.
When they tried to disarm the bomb detonated, and all those little projectiles that I was afraid would go off and injure people, they did go off. And they put holes in the wall and the ceiling and so forth. So I was right. anybody below the table was safe.
The next day when I woke up, I started to hear more and more about what had happened. I started to understand the part Lloyd Prescott played in making sure everybody was safe.
Lloyd Prescott was a hero in my mind, even before this happened. He's like a superhero now. I mean, he lived and breathed being a police officer and putting himself in danger by what, going into that hostage situation was incredible. And we all wish that we could do something like that. Lloyd did it, survived it, and saved people's lives. And in our book, that there's nothing better than that.
When bad things happen, you can choose to be a victim. You can choose to be a survivor. And that's why I went right back to work, and that's why I'm still with the library.
What made it possible for me to do my job is Gwen Page, Michael Greer, all the other hostages that complied with what he said. There's a common demeanor among police officers and those in the military. It's your job to risk your life. That's why we have cops. It was my job, it was my duty.